Today, we're jumping into the kitchen, specifically looking at the Miss City Pink Coffee Maker. It's that 3-in-1 single-serve machine. And look, this isn't just about, another gadget review. There's a bigger question here, isn't there? Does this thing actually manage to be super versatile? 3 different ways to make a drink without dropping the ball on quality for any single one. We've got all the specs, the user feedback, everything. We're going to boil it down for you. What's the deal with this little pink box?
Exactly. That's really the core issue we're tackling. We all kind of want that one device that does it all, right? Consolidate. But is getting ground coffee, capsules, and loose tea all in one actually worth it if it means maybe none of them are quite perfect? We've pulled out the facts to see if this Miss City Pink machine actually pulls off that tricky balancing act.
Okay, let's dive right in now. The 3-in-1 thing, that's its main identity. So what are the 3 methods it uses? And why is that even a big deal right now?
Well, it's definitely aiming for that modern, multi-use vibe. It handles 3 different inputs, which gives you, maximum flexibility. First, you've got your standard brown coffee. That's pretty crucial if you like using your own special beans. Second, and this is important, it takes flat bottom coffee capsules.
Flat bottom. Okay, why that specific detail? Why do you need to know that?
Because that speaks volumes about versatility. So you're not necessarily stuck with just one company's coffee. The sources are pretty clear. These aren't always brand exclusive. That means way more variety than, say, those dome-shaped pods from, the big guys.
Right, okay. That makes sense. More choice.
And the third input, loose tea.
Loose tea in a coffee machine.
Yep. And that's kind of a game changer, isn't it? For something usually just for coffee. It's built for variety, for that busy morning routine where everyone wants something different.
And it manages all that while being, honestly, surprisingly small. The specs say just 6.3 inches wide. That's tiny.
Oh, absolutely tiny. That's a huge plus for anyone short on space.
Yeah, like dorm rooms, small apartment kitchens.
Or even just an office desk. Right. It fits neatly pretty much anywhere. It packs 3 functions into a footprint that usually only handles one type of single-serve brewing. Pretty neat.
Okay, so we know what it can brew and where it can fit. Let's switch focus now to how it actually performs. Capacity and speed. Because for a single-serve machine, some of the numbers we saw were really caught my eye.
Yeah, the capacity is where it gets interesting for its size. The water reservoir specifically. Most single-serve machines, you're constantly refilling the tank, right, after maybe 1 or 2 cups. This Miss City Pink, it has a 50-ounce reservoir. Removable, too.
50 ounces, that's what, about 1.5 liters?
Roughly, yeah. That feels more like something you'd find in an office, not necessarily a personal brewer.
So what does that mean practically?
It means you can brew maybe 4, even 5 decent-sized 10-ounce cups before you even have to think about walking over to the sink. That bumps up the convenience factor massively, and it helps it serve that mixed household or small group scenario we talked about much better.
And when you do brew, it keeps things simple with presets.
Correct. You get 3 options, 6-ounce, 8-ounce, or 10-ounce. Straightforward, no fiddling with complicated volume settings like some machines have. Just push a button.
Okay, now here's where I got really interested. The speed. Because if you're like me, rushing in the morning, or you just need that caffeine hit now, speed matters. And the sources mention some seriously fast brew times. A 6-ounce cup in about a minute.
60 seconds, yeah. And even the biggest option, the 10-ounce cup, it's only around 100 seconds. That's pretty quick.
Wow. How does it manage that?
Well, this connects back to the power specs. We saw it runs on 120 volts and pulls 1,150 watts.
Okay, 1,150 watts. Break that down. What does that number mean for the user?
It basically means fast heating. Higher wattage lets the machine get the water up to temperature really quickly and push it through. It's not sitting around slowly warming up. It's designed for rapid heat and dispense. That's what gives you those impressive brew times. It leans into that high convenience, I need coffee now use case.
Makes sense. All right, before we get into the pros and cons, the trade-offs, let's get really specific on the physical stuff, especially for people like us with those giant travel mugs. Are there limitations?
Good question. Physically, it's about 10.6 inches deep, the 6.3 inches wide we mentioned, and stands about 10.4 inches tall. And it's light, only about 4.6 pounds. Now, mug clearance. With the drip tray on, it fits mugs up to about 3.7 inches wide and 6.3 inches high. Standard mug size, pretty much.
But the drip tray. That's the key for commuters, isn't it?
That's the essential bit, yes. If you've got a taller travel mug, you just pop that drip tray off. That gives you significantly more height clearance, usually enough for most common travel mugs, maybe 7 or 8 inches.
That's a smart design touch. Avoids that awkward tilting and spilling.
Totally. I have had brewers where you have to wrestle the mug under. It's messy. This avoids that, makes it much more practical for taking coffee on the go.
So that little detachable tray actually makes a big difference for usability.
A huge difference. Oh, and just quickly, the other specs mention the tank and the needle, the part that pierces capsules, are DPA-free.
Important safety point.
Yeah, definitely good to know, especially with hot water involved. Health and safety check mark there.
All right, so we've laid out the features, the performance, the physical details. Now, the balancing act. We need to look at the big wins, the pros that make you think, yeah, maybe this is for me, but also the trade-offs. What do you give up to get that 3-in-1 flexibility? Let's start with the pros. What are the key takeaways?
Okay, the pros really hammer home that flexibility and convenience message. First, obviously, that 3-in-1 versatility. Capsules, grounds, tea. Huge value for the price if you want variety. Second, that big 50-ounce reservoir. We keep coming back to it, but compared to other single-serve machines, it's just way more convenient, less refilling. And third, the practical design stuff. Things like the removable filter basket and the drip tray being washable. That makes daily cleaning and just general upkeep pretty straightforward. Hygiene matters.
Okay, those are strong points, especially the convenience angle. But this is where the but comes in, right? If it's so good at being flexible, where's the compromise? Where do you feel that it's a generalist, not a specialist?
Well, the main one, as the sources suggest, is that potential specialization trade-off. Particularly with capsules, if you're using those prepackaged pods, they might not brew quite as optimally, maybe not get the same pressure or crema as they would in a machine that's only built for that specific capsule type.
Oh.
This machine does a good job, but it might not hit that absolute peak performance that a dedicated, perhaps more expensive capsule-only system could deliver. You're trading maybe that last 5% of perfection for the ability to do everything else.
So if you're a real Nespresso aficionado or something, and that exact brew is critical, this might be a secondary machine, not your primary one.
Potentially, yes. It's the classic jack-of-all-trades scenario. It does capsules well, but maybe not masterfully compared to a dedicated master.
Got it. What about other practical trade-offs, day-to-day stuff?
Well, look, the reservoir's big for single serve, but let's be real. If you drink coffee like it's going out of style all day long, you're still refilling it daily. It's not a 12-cup drip machine reservoir.
Yeah.
And then there's the brand thing. Mesity isn't, Keurig or Breville. It seems less established. So while the specs look solid now, finding info on how it holds up after 5 or 10 years might be harder than for a big household name. Long-term reliability is maybe a bit more of an unknown.
That's a fair point. And often the biggest long-term factor is upkeep, maintenance. The cleaning requirement here seems surprisingly involved for a machine focused on speed.
Ah, yes, the elephant in the kitchen. Descaling. This machine needs it regularly to keep working well and keep the taste clean. When the lights flash telling you it's time, you have to fill the tank with water and vinegar and then run 6 full brewing cycles.
6. That's not just a quick rinse cycle.
No, it's definitely not. 6 cycles takes time. You're dedicating a decent chunk of your morning or whenever you do it just to maintenance. It's a real commitment. It really highlights that tension, doesn't it, between the make coffee fast convenience and the you gotta take care of this thing reality of small appliances. It's a built-in friction point.
So let's wrap this up. What does all this mean for you listening in and trying to figure this out?
Well, the final verdict seems to be that this Mesity Pink 3-in-1 is actually a really solid, practical choice. It works because its strengths, the compact size, that big reservoir, the sheer usefulness of 3-in-1 generally outweigh the fact that it's not a super specialist, especially when you factor in the price.
So it's kind of the ultimate utility player if you value variety above all else.
That's a great way to put it, a utility player. We'd really only suggest looking elsewhere if you fall into 2 camps. 1, you drink an enormous amount of coffee and need something with even bigger capacity, like a large batch brewer. Or 2, as we discussed, if you absolutely demand the verified top-tier peak performance specifically from capsules and nothing less will do, then yeah, you might compare it against a dedicated single-format machine.